Hey everybody, Scott here, and I just got back from a great conference this weekend where I was working with a lot of different authors. But I wanted to kind of change the focus here. Instead of talking about what it's going to take to publish those books, what it's going to take to market those books, what it's going to take to craft those books to make the best novel ever, I want to spend some more time talking about getting in the right headspace here. And I want to talk really about that because it wasn't just from the conversations that I had with the writers at the conference, but also talking to both my son and my daughter, who are coaches back on the East Coast. One coaches swimming up in Rochester, the other one coaches equestrian. The crazy people jumping over fences, right? Coaches equestrian down in Florida. And both of them really had some tough weeks where they were really struggling with their student athletes who were not in the right headspace, right? My son had a swim meet yesterday, and he said, "You know something? We didn't have to. We thought we could potentially win part of the meet, but everybody was in their head." They had already gotten into their head when they walked in that they were not going to succeed, that they couldn't do it. My daughter, who does the equestrian riding, said the same thing during the course of the week, that these riders were coming in going, I just can't do it. I'm just not in the right headspace. And you know something? We do get into a place with our writing, and in fact, with everything we do, that there are going to be tough things ahead of us. Life is not easy. Simple as that. You're going to face struggles. You're going to face challenges. To get to the top of Mount Everest requires pain, misery, agony, freezing feet, and you name it, just to get to the top to see that view. It's going to hurt. I remember I was 11 years old doing one of my first long-term backpack trips. This thing was 75, almost 80 miles long. And part of that trip was to to climb up over a pass up in the Sierra Nevadas in the Sequoia National Park. And for anybody who's down there, I'm going to give you the name so you'll know what I'm talking about. We had to go through Elizabeth Pass. Elizabeth Pass is 11,400 feet. And you look up at that pass from the bottom of that valley and you're looking up and going, I can't make it. But what do you have to do? You have to put one foot in front of the other. Yes, we're getting close to the Christmas season, so we might as well sing that song, right? Now it's all embedded in your head. The point being, you just had to do it. Did it hurt? You better believe it. When I got to the top, I knew it was worth it. So writing is not easy. Publishing is not easy. And you have to find ways to overcome those barriers. Instead of just simply going, I'm just stuck. My story, it's just not going anywhere. You have to take a couple deep breaths. You have to walk away from it for a few minutes and figure it out. I've talked about this before over on my blog, but I have one author that it's a guarantee. I'll get a phone call from her and she's going to go, Scott, my story is a wreck. And I only have to ask one question. What chapter are you on? And she'll go, chapter 11. It'll be chapter 10, 11, or 12. One of those three. It's that point in your story where things really start to take a shift. And she starts getting those second thoughts. She starts realizing it's not going to work. She starts panicking. She starts wanting to go back and make some changes. But the reality is, you got to keep pushing forward. You're in your head. That's where you're at. You're in your head. You're not paying attention to your writing. And this goes for all of you out there. Even if you're somebody and you're watching this right now and you're like, dude, this guy, he's got this. You might be in the middle of a college class right now. You're hitting midterms and it's getting ugly. You can't just stop and go, no, I quit. It's too easy to quit. It's too easy to just say no. I was watching a movie with my wife just a couple nights ago. And this girl had this amazing career. Everybody believed in her. She had a law career. And she kept going, I don't know. I'm not feeling really comfortable. And she's whining about it. You know what she did? She hit cancel and suspend her degree. Because guess what? Look how easy that was to push one button. Will she regret it later? Yes. If you turn around and you say, right now, I can't handle writing. Writing is too difficult. And you say, I quit. Are you going to regret it later? I've talked to so many authors who, once they get that contract, once they get that call, the pressure is too much. And they go, I can't quit. Because pushing that single button on your keypad is easier than taking a couple deep breaths and figuring out what it takes to get over that obstacle. And I'm saying that obstacle. I'm making it small for a reason. Because most of the obstacles we face out there are not that bad. You gotta find a way to work your way through it. It's as simple as that. Like I said, things get tough. Life is not easy. Excuse me. Martin Landau. I can't remember the movie it was. My wife and I laugh about it all the time because his Oscar speech that he won was just like, oh my gosh, stop talking. But he made a good point. That there were peaks and there were valleys in his career. And there were more peaks and there were more valleys. And the question you have to ask yourself is, are you going to stop at the bottom of that valley? Are you really going to quit right there? Because guess what? Success might just be around that corner. Success might be there. It's as simple as that. When I talk to my son and he's like, oh my gosh, these kids, I've got some of them, some of these student athletes who should be able to make it to NCAA. Now we're talking NCAA championships, the big ones. They come in and they go, oh, that swim set was hard. And he looks at him and says, you did it yesterday. You did that swim set yesterday and you didn't complain. And yet today, you're whining about it. I know, but that was yesterday. And I'm tired and I'm struggling with my schoolwork. And it's like, guess what? We all have tough days. We all have them. We all have days where we wake up in the morning and we create that to-do list and there are 50 items on that to-do list and we sit there and we think we can't do it. And we quit. Now, it doesn't help either that since COVID, it started a little bit before this, but essentially since COVID, we have trained our brains to say, oh, I know, but it's so difficult for people these days. Really? It's so difficult for people these days. I teach history also. So I'm just going to backtrack a couple things here. You tell me what it would have been like for those early colonists getting on a boat that's not very big, so we're not talking cruise line, Norwegian cruise line and everything like that, getting on a wooden boat, looking behind them, watching their family, sailing away and going, I'm never going to see them again. And that family going, we're never going to see them again, because the odds are they're not making the trip back, or the odds are they might have died along the way. I want you to think about those people who were in St. Louis and said, I'm taking the Oregon Trail. They could have quit at any moment, and a lot of them did. But there were also a lot of them who plowed ahead. They sucked it up in the morning. They got their guts going in the morning and said, you know something? Yesterday was awful. And today may be equally as awful. But what do I have ahead of me? Where am I going to ahead of me? What am I shooting for? So if you're a writer and you are sitting there thinking, I want to be traditionally published, is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. And if you have any author out there who goes, oh yeah, I sat down, banged out a little story, boom, done it. Hate to break this to you, they're an anomaly. Or they're lying to you. It's not going to be easy. You are going to hit those roadblocks. But what do you want? That's going to be the start question. I want to give you 4 questions I want you to think about here. Now, these 4 questions came from our good friend Cheryl. Cheryl lived with us while she was going to the university near us. She couldn't afford living on campus, so we said, you could stay at our house. So she became like our kid for that year. Cheryl went on and she started to work at a juvenile detention center for a while she was doing like an internship. But she came home from a training one day and she said, I learned 4 magic questions. So I want you to think about these 4 magic questions. Number 1, what do you want? What is it that you want? Question 2, what are you doing right now to actually achieve that? Question 3, how is that helping you? Followed up by question number 4, what should you be doing? I want you to think about those 4 questions. And you notice I'm keeping this really broad because I want this to get out to a lot of different people. And if you're somebody who's a writer and you're following me, I want you to send this to other people. And if you are a writer, and I'm going to back this up even more, this is a little promo piece here. If you are a writer and you are part of a writing organization and you want me to come and expand on this to the members of your writing chapter, please have your writing chapter reach out to me. Writing, like everything else in the real world, takes time. It's hard work. You will have failures. You will have rejections. But it all comes back to you. What are you really willing to do to fix that problem? And this especially even goes out to those of you, if this gets forwarded to other people who might be a student and you're sitting in a class, whether or not you're a sixth grader, all the way up to university level, things are not going to be easy. Subjects are going to be tough. You become a bioengineer, bio major, medical major, you're going to take organic chemistry too. It's going to be tough. It's going to hurt. But how badly do you want it? I want you to really think about that. It's my motivational moment here for a Sunday, but I want you to think about this. How badly do you want it? And if you're willing to sit there and say, nope, I'm going to hit that submit button. I'm going to hit that quit button. That quit button is right there. You hit that quit button. Please. But when I say you hit that quit button and please, it's going to get the pain off of you right now. You're going to regret it later. That I can guarantee. So keep that in the back of your head. Think that one through. And I will talk to you soon. As always, make sure that you're following me over on my blog, over at the website. I'm also on Query Manager as well. And as I said, if you are somebody with a writing chapter and you want me to come and speak to you, I am definitely 100% there for you. You just have to call me. You just have to send me an email, and I'll be there. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.